qué rico. ¿Quieres un cafecito? ¿Quieres un latte? Quizás un Yapp-a-lotte. Hay que yappear together. Enjoy, amigo, it's welcome to Yapp-a-lotte. Qué rico. Qué rico. Qué rico. Qué rico. Qué rico. Qué rico. Qué rico.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Yapp-a-lotte. It is April the 12th of the year 2026. I am one of your hosts, Peppabyte.
And here with you is, of course, Glithy.
And we've survived another week in Japan. And, I was way more conscious this week than last week. Since last week I was mainly dizzy and unconscious the whole time. But I think a lot of people aren't going to know it because last week was our worst episode ever. We barely crossed 10 views. And I'm not going to be a conspiracy theorist about it, but we did cover like 10,000 conspiracies and probably mention the word conspiracy like 10,000 times. In fact, I'm going to probably censor it in the post-production version of this podcast. I'm going to be like, cut. All you're going to hear is cut. But anyways, how was your week?
Pretty good. Got my new computer finally. I've been talking about that.
Hey, it's been weeks. It's been a week. How long has it been just sitting in your room?
About 2 weeks or so.
That is insane. I could
just
never.
Waiting on my stimmy, as we call it.
I could never. I would have plugged that shit into like a tube top television. I would have plugged that shit. I would have plugged that shit into like literally anything. I would have, like one of those like DVD players, the portable DVD players they sell out here. Just anything. But how you liking it?
That's because you're crazy.
I'm crazy.
Enjoying it. Especially the nice bigger monitor. 27's where it's at.
Ooh. Yeah, I don't 27 for real, because I got like I think I had sent you my monitor. I feel like it's like 22 or 24, and it's pretty big. 27, but like 27. Can your eyes even like, come across like the entire? Can you capture the whole screen with your face at the same time? I feel like
Probably not.
I feel like
I could have been like ridiculous and gotten like an ultra wide monitor or something like that, but tiny apartments.
Yeah. There's a lot of not to get into technology like immediately, but there's a lot of technology that I feel like doesn't make any sense in the US that comes out of Japan but makes perfect sense in Japan. One of them for sure has to be the noise canceling earphones. Like they make, after a while, like at first they were like, oh, this is cool. Maybe you can use it for a library or studying in universities if I'm in the US. But after a while it was like, this will block out women. It's like, wait a minute, what are we doing? Like literally there was one of the Sony headphone updates where it was like, this does a lot better with shrill voices such as women and kids. It was like, where are we going with this? And that's when you realize that these are meant for like, like salary men who are trapped on the train and they have to contend with like being harassed by everything. But
it's also like a Japan thing though, to be like, and this is easy enough for a woman, or this blocks out a woman.
Oh yeah, sure. What is that? I think I saw earlier a commercial where it was like a lady and she's wearing the office lady uniform. Maybe don't search it on Google Images with your parents behind you, but OL, literally the letter O and the letter L. It's literally just a woman with clothes on, but they gotta fetishize everything out here. And she's walking her like dog, and a dude comes up to her. There's a commercial on TV. A dude comes up to her, and he's like, "Oh, wow, it looks so whatever." And they don't use like a lot of pronouns they don't use a lot of pronouns out here, so it's just like looks like it's not clear what he's talking about. This is part of the joke. Looks so nice. Can I touch it? Kind of thing. Can I touch? I guess. And then she's like, yeah, of course. And then the dude just starts feeling up her legs. And then the commercial was like, get your legs looking like you're 20 years old again. And that was the whole commercial. Now, would that work on you? Would you be like, okay, yeah, let me get on that. I think it was like some kind of skin ointment or something.
Absolutely not.
Are you are you sure? You answered a little too quickly. Let's
I don't.
let's go over it again. A man who you don't know, whom is a stranger to you, approaches you whilst you have a majestic looking canine at your side. Fast forward 3 seconds and he's feeling your legs. Are you sure this is not what you want? Are you sure about
I'm
this?
very sure.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, yeah. So they do have that. But the inverse of all, not the misogyny, but the inverse of the of the technology gap here has to be like the big screens. Like in the U.S. too, I remember there was once upon a time in university, some guy was gonna throw out a huge TV, like a really huge TV, and I was like, let me get that, and then I just like made it my PC screen for a while. It was like it was so impractical. There was like no purpose for it, but it felt right, just to have a big ass monitor in front of your face. In Japan, it's like the opposite. It's like they want like a bunch of small stuff, like something like even something like the not the well it was Oculus, but a Quest, like Meta Quest,
Oh, the MetaQuest, yeah.
kind of makes sense out here at first, especially when you consider the multiple monitor things. Apparently, it was a disappointment, so it didn't really do the job. But something like that would have been a hit because there are a lot of people up in small apartments who would love to have virtual spaces. So I mean, I know I would have.
I think it was a matter of the visuals just weren't great.
Yeah, right.
Like being fuzzy and stuff.
Yeah, like when I first came to Japan, I was also in small apartments, and I guess maybe this is interesting for people who don't know. When you moved into Japan, depending on your company, some of the companies they'll hook you up with stuff, and what they hook you up with is usually not going to be the best because they like had access to a bunch of homes or I guess apartment spaces, living spaces, and they got them like in bulk. So when you get hired and dragged out here into these Japanese streets, they'll be like, would you like to use one of our whatevers? And usually the rent is like somewhat docked. I'm sure they're somehow making money off it. Let's be real. The company, I mean, the company that hired you. But you'll have like a stable rent, and then you are just kind of like stuck in these places that probably an average Japanese person would be trying to avoid. But hey, you're new to Japan, so why not start from the bottom like it's Grand Theft Auto 4? Yeah, I really wanted a TV, but I was like, it would be stupid to buy a TV in here. So I bought like some Sony TV headset, which again, why does that thing even exist? But it basically but it basically did like 720p, and it was all right, but it was just so heavy, and like your neck would strain because this is like we're talking like 2013 or something. I think it was released in 2013 or something. So, anyways,
Oh yeah, that would have been heavy ass tech.
Yeah. But the quality was good. PS3 games looked great on it. I still have it, by the way, but when I put it on like last year, a spider just crawled into it and died. And now the spider's corpse is like the size of like the whole screen. So like it still works, but it's like a little tiny spider, like one tiny spider versus the giant machine. And the little spider won because like I could take that apart, but that was gonna be a pain in the ass. And like why would I even? Anyways, it's messed up. But I see you're kind of doing a mixture here. You want big American style, but you also know you are in Japan. Period. So but 27 inches is about right for you, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty good because I had thought about the dual monitor, but as you know, I wanted the 4K, and 27 inches is not going to work in Japan.
I like how no matter what, you weren't coming down for 27 inches. You were like, no matter what, it's going to involve 27 inches. So, I mean, it's either 27 inches or 27 inches. It's not in between.
When I set out, it was not going to be 27 inches. I'll be fair. I was going for a smaller monitor.
Yeah, I mean, I've always multi-monitored out here. And then I realized kind of like one reason I'm not successful in life is probably because I multi-monitor. Like, like, don't get me wrong, it looks pretty cool to have like tablets and stuff. I got a tablet floating right next to me. It's off right now, thank God. But I got all kinds of stuff. Okay, I got all kinds of monitors floating on top. My what do they call it? My battle something. I forget what like the nerds call computer setups. Battle something. Anyways,
I was gonna say battle station, but
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, my battle station is cringe as you'd expect from a Linux user. But anyways, yeah, someone made a really good point. Like the richer you are, or the higher echelon you are, the less monitors you have in your life. And I was like, damn, that means like I'm at the fucking bottom of this caste of the tech caste system right now, with all these monitors. Like, 'cause, like if you're like the CEO, like you barely have a phone. You have like you have you like just be typing up emails on your phone, or just having someone else look at a screen for you to respond to stuff. So feels bad, but you're clearly you're clearly more advanced than I am at this point with your 4K 27-inch monitor and your beastly device as well. You said, how's that going?
Oh, it's going nicely. Things load up like fast, which I know someone's out there like, duh. But when you go from like a 2019 computer to a 2026 computer.
I'm telling you, I've said it before, but I become like the biggest Apple salesman when we talk about those M chips. Which M chip is in your it's a Mac Mini?
Yeah, Mac Mini, so it's the M4.
That's crazy. Yeah, those M4s, they're not a joke. How much RAM we talking?
16 gigs.
Damn. Yeah, you're good. You're good for a while. Someone might say, "Oh, but that can't run AI." But actually, you know what? You actually can. If you wanted to run a local AI, I could hook it up. Give you a tutorial. But okay.
I think most people overinflate their RAM needs, to be honest. I think they imagine they're out there doing something that requires like 64 gigs of RAM, but really.
She says to the guy with 64 gigs of RAM on his computer. but to be fair, like mine actually does get filled up. I can prove it. But it's not for anything. It's literally just the AI stuff. Because like if you have a model, if you're loading two 25 gigabyte models and your GPU is a plebeian GPU, it dumps the rest of it into the RAM. But all that really does is just make sure your computer doesn't crash. Because my computer was crashed. I think I had 16 or 30. I think I had 16 gigabytes, and I was like, "This is fine." Nah, like my computer kept freezing up in the middle of like some AI process. It's dumb. Anyways, it's not even relevant because I'm assuming most people don't. I do actual AI stuff at home, even if they think they are doing that. But yeah. I agree. I think the only reason anyone needs over 8 gigabytes even is just because of the Chrome browser. But I guess I don't know how well Safari works, because as much as I hype up Apple, I don't actually use Apple computers at home. I just know their potential. But
I want to say that Chrome and Chromium browsers are the heaviest browsers.
Yeah, they're like entire. I don't want to say like straight operating systems, because that would probably be inaccurate. But they are they'd be running like operating systems, and you can make apps for them to run on them as though they were some kind of operating system. And you do log into them as an operating, and they do anyways. The point is, the Chrome browser is like the downfall. Is like the main reason why everybody needs RAM. I'm pretty sure, like the average user. I mean, and unfortunately, like it's actually a good browser. Like say what you will, the Chromium core is actually pretty good. To the point where I don't know if people know this. This is an interesting factoid. Google actually is like the biggest donator to Firefox, to Mozilla. And it's literally only so that they can avoid being called a monopoly. Because they just know that they would, like, wipe the floor with their tech. So they're like, in order to avoid this accusation, because for those people who don't know their history, Microsoft Windows back in the day came with their own browser. Obviously, everybody knows Internet Explorer. And they actually got sued because there were other competing web browsers, and they're like, dude, this is a monopoly. Like, if this comes pre-installed, then no one's gonna install our browser. The other browsers were like Netscape is old. This is back in the day. This is pre everything.
Way back in the day.
Yeah, and so they got sued, and it was actually a pretty big deal because I think they lost. And in some regions, so some regions came without Internet Explorer, which is interesting because it's like, well, then how can I download anything if I don't have an internet browser? I don't know. I guess I didn't think about that. But yeah, anyways.
It's kind of funny because it went from being a monopoly to like the most used browser to download Chrome.
Mm-hmm. That's all it's good for. One of my favorite memes is like a super cute. They've made anime girl versions of different things. You know, like anime girl version of like a video game console, anime girl version of all the browsers. I forget what they're called. One artist in particular. And the meme was something like, oh, finally, like someone's gonna use Bing. And it was like, how to download literally anything but Bing. Or like how to stop using, how to get a real browser or whatever. But honestly, they deserve the hate. So I'll leave it at that.
You said it, not me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I said I didn't mean to get into tech news, but that's good. You're with the modern people.
With the modern people, I'm all pink and silver.
Ooh, what does that mean? Did you somehow get like a customized version of something? What's going on?
I went to Logitech, although if you're in Japan, it's Logicool.
Mm-hmm.
And bought all pink accessories because I'm extra.
Well, I guess, are we going to be able to see this on your YouTube channel? Pedals and Ash?
Yeah, I'm probably going to do some stuff involving that, especially to talk about writing in Japanese, but we'll see.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Look forward to seeing that. Any other news or wait? Do you have news? Should I be dropping news bombs on you?
I think this time we're gonna have you dropping news bombs because apparently my news bombs, my quick hits, didn't do well.
Well, no, dude, that was me. Like, if I would have just been like, Artemis 2 is the most important step, in this current century's journey as far as humanity, blah blah blah, then we would have probably done gangbusters. If the thumbnail would have been like you and me wearing like space helmets or something, instead of you and me probably just doing nothing. I don't know. I do actually kind of blame the thumbnail. But okay, I'll drop some news. This is lighthearted, but I couldn't help but catch my eye. I don't even know if I should. Let me share it with you because I forgot you haven't seen this, huh? Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. All right, I've sent it to you. So this news has appeared on my. It appeared not just in my feed. I'll put it that way.
What in the world?
Yeah, the viral Japanese heart butt trend has to be the strangest thing on the internet right now. Article by Elisa Bain. Damn, her last name's Bain. Anyways, the pictures that are here. Well, let's see. How would you describe this this picture, this pose?
Well, it is certainly a heart. If you don't mind that it's a butt.
It's basically just. Yeah, go ahead, please.
The hands are what make it strange.
Yeah, before I get canceled for even describing this thing, I need you to.
Because the hands are kind of in a V shape to kind of frame said ass. But,
yeah, for our audio listeners, which hopefully we'll have now that I'm figuring out how podcasting works, these are women that are facing directly away, bent over, and their body is mainly occluded. You can't see it, and it's hiding behind their big asses. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
And then they have their arms on either side, and they got like this weird. This has to be a fetish, bro. I don't care. This has to be. I mean, by fetish, I mean obviously like a butt is like not even a fetish. It's like just objectively sexual for the species. But the part where like the hand, because you locked in on the hands too, right?
Yeah, the hands are what make it, honestly.
Yeah, like the hands, they're like the tips of the fingers, open palmed, are touching, and yeah, it creates like a kind of heart with asses. And unsurprisingly, it came out of Japan, so this actually counts as Japanese news, guys. We're doing Japanese news. Here's the.
Is that what we're doing?
This is it's okay. According to Know Your Meme, which actually does like some of the best reporting, the heart butt challenge, also known as a heart pose, is a social media trend and internet challenge in which people, typically women, upload photos taken from behind of themselves bent over at the waist and joining the tips of their fingers around their knees, making a rough heart shape. Wow. This trend purportedly began in Japan and was started by ex-Twitter user and cosplayer Kikiki 68618. The trend went viral in early April 2026. And okay. Anyways, here's why I'm bringing it up, aside from just looking at butts. Is this real? Is this a psyop? Like, if I get it, like if you are someone, man or woman apparently, who has that much cake, and you just know your peach be looking good, and you're just gonna be like, you know what, let me just what, show off or something. But I feel like even if you fit all those parameters, why would you do this? And thus this leads me to think that it's not even real, that like that lady or the cosplayer, it was probably real to her, like she's probably feeling good that day, but then it feels so like artificial and pushed, like. And the other thing is, like, they call it a trend, but the only thing I've seen trending is people like confused by it. Like my feed with like is not full of like people I know doing this. I did
I
ask
think
one
there's
person.
something
Yeah, go ahead.
I think there's something to be said about like it's hard to explain, but like someone does something in Japan that's kind of weird or quirky,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's called a trend, even though like only 5 people did it.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, I think that happens a lot with China news too. Like there's still like this kind of like mystery about the Orient or something, where it's like, you know what they be doing over there, and then it's like one cosplayer. But yeah, and in fact, even in the because I'm looking, there's kind of like a gallery here. Like I feel like it's like the same butt a few times. Might be tripping. We're usually pretty good at identifying butts, and I feel like some of these butts are like the same person. But anyways, yeah, I asked one person about it, and she was also confused. And then she said, not all women have that much peach to work with to pull this off, which then made me think like, well, then maybe it's real, because it's kind of like, can you do this? But I still can't help but feel like this was like some guy's behind this, some guy with like no face is behind this, but I can't prove it. This is like that one insert meme
Well,
of that one guy who's sus, the handsome sus black guy meme from Dexter. That's like me right now.
I mean, to be fair, the way it's positioned, y'all could be looking at dude butts.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
but
there's no way to know for real.
hey man, butts are butts, bro. If they're in your face like that, no, I'm joking. But there's just something, it just doesn't. It's like, I mean, I guess the reason it came, the real reason it started trending is because let's see here, on April 7th, 2026, Redditor private_1010 posted a meme to the r dank meme subreddit about the trend, poking fun at women, of course, sexist, for starting the trend with World War III around the corner, in quotes, garnering over 7,500 upvotes in under a day. And it just basically says, on the brink of World War III, current Instagram trend, and it has the women doing the heart butt pose. I think that's the real reason. Probably it hit the Western media, but
You might be right, because there's no real reason for it to, hit like that.
what are we doing? Like I shouldn't even be the one complaining about this. I don't even know if I am. I'm just more like, is someone running a psyop? Did someone have a plan? Because they didn't execute it right. And I know they didn't execute it right because it's mainly just, the main reaction to this has been confusion. Okay, I don't know. I guess I have to ask, would you ever do this?
No way.
Would you participate in this trend?
Part of me is like, I feel like I couldn't get my hands to like do that to get like the proper shape.
The gentle touching at the tips of the fingertips. Is that what you mean? Or like the
Just like, and I don't mean that like I can't touch my hands like behind me or anything.
uh-huh.
I mean like just to make that pose without like losing my shit laughing.
Well, now you know where my news preferences lie. Let's see. I guess one more Japan news that I heard that was pretty scary. Apparently it's been confirmed, but like in a very, how do I put it? Like in a not clear-cut way, that they're gonna start requiring JLPT 2 for people coming in to Japan. And then also probably for renewals of visas, but only for jobs that require Japanese to begin with, like you're talking to customers. in Japanese. And also only if you are working for a category 3 or 4 company. I don't really know what the categories mean. Maybe I'll ask AI. But I think it's mainly just related to the size of the company, how much money they bring in, whether they get to be category 1 or 2. But anyways, I'll just say quickly that I think that's gonna nuke a lot of people. Like, I don't even have JLPT 2, so
I think it's gonna nuke a lot of people just because, like, they're talking about basically, like, requiring more information and then deciding that, like, you need to know Japanese because we said you need to know Japanese. I don't know how much they're actually going to check if the position requires you to speak Japanese.
yeah, that's the part that's like really up in the air. Cause like my job right now, I don't use any Japanese. I'm just working for a Japanese company out here, and but the company itself, it being like a fully fledged Japanese company that's not related to teaching, it's not related to teaching. I'll leave it at that. Like what are they gonna like? If I ask them like, hey, uh, help me renew my visa or whatever, like somewhere they just got to be like, oh, by the way, this guy's position is not even Japanese facing or something. But then it's like, who says it? Do I say it? Do they say it? Like, since that's never been like a box. That's never been like something to check or not check. It's always been like the company wants you for whatever reason, and they're down to throw down for you, so they will sponsor you, and then that company's gonna be category whatever, and that's how you get in. But like, excuse me. But now it's like, well, this company, we gotta. The whole game is gonna change depending on this guy or lady has JLPT 2 or not, and whether it's like whatever category, and whether their position even needs Japanese. It's just gonna create like a bunch of more slots you got to fill in. But I don't know if the companies are. I know this doesn't sound like a big deal. This sounds like, you can just answer. These are all like yes or no questions. But to Japanese companies that have been doing something a certain way for decades, this is gonna, even they're gonna be like, oh, I don't know what to do with this. They're gonna be like all confused and stuff. No?
I think so, because I'm looking up about the Japanese category 3 or 4,
Mm-hmm.
and category 4 kind of makes sense. They're new or unstable companies, so they're requiring a lot of documentation.
Uh-huh.
But once again, like, okay, increased documentation makes sense, but requiring Japanese may or may not make sense.
Yeah. And
Like,
then
what does the
also,
company do?
I don't know how this is gonna sound, but JLPT 2, like I could be wrong about this, but I mean I've kind of seen it, and I have people who've done this, and I know people who've done this. If you are Chinese, as in grew up in mainland China and know your Hanzi, like that's the kanji, you could probably pass JLPT 2 with very, very, very limited studying, because like someone like you and I, we would probably excel like at the listening section. The JLPT 2, by the way, is the Japanese language proficiency test, the Nihongo Noryoku Shiken, and N1 is the highest. And N1, apparently even Japanese people are kind of go like, what? They claim not to, but I think it just depends on their education level, to be honest. Maybe like if they graduated university, JLPT 1 is probably fine for them. But either way, JLPT N2 is N1, and it goes from N5 to N1. Once again, we could plug Petals and Ash, your YouTube channel, where you're trying to fight right now for to lock in N3, but you're aiming at N2, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Fighting for my life here.
Yeah, and N1 is largely unnecessary, probably, unless you're gonna sign up for like a translation job, probably, I would say. And then N2 is like the de facto standard for, you're going to be surrounded by Japanese or business Japanese. And then N3 is like, okay, you're not gonna be like totally lost while you're out here. And then N5 and N4 are almost like, I don't know what.
You showed up.
Yeah, you are interested in Japanese kind of thing. So, I mean, I don't know if it's still the same, but I would say, if you're interested in Japanese and you're interested in getting these, I suppose you could do N5 and N4 to get a taste, but you should really be aiming for N3 to start with. And then after that, once you clear N3, then lock in on N2 probably. And then N1 is like if you just want to mog, basically. But where was I? So yeah, that's the JLPT. And the so if you learned Chinese characters as a child, and yes, the simplified Chinese characters are different from the Japanese ones, but they do resemble the so-called traditional characters in China. Just resemble, even though there was some sharing in both directions, by the way. You probably could pass the reading fairly easily. Again, not from zero, but like with way less than what it would take us. Probably like less than a year of study. You could probably pass the reading really fast, and that means you can probably answer some questions, including some of the grammar questions, and then the listening might be on the harder side for you. But that's I think there's 3 sections, right? Am I wrong about this? There's 3? No?
I'm sure it's 3.
Yeah, so it'd be like reading, listening, and like grammar, like / fill in the kanji, like multiple choice style. Well, the whole thing is multiple choice for now. But yeah, the reading and the fill in the kanji and the grammar, that's 2 out of 3 sections, and that becomes your strong suit, depending on where you were educated. Versus for you and I, our strong suit is probably going to be the listening more than anything, because we didn't really grow up with having to write out these characters, these Chinese characters, these kanji. So that's fine and all, but the result is going to be that, this kind of test is not gonna really measure like maybe like comprehension as far as like communication goes. Like I know people who they don't have the JLPT N2 and maybe their reading isn't great, but they can have full-fledged conversations and have been working in Japanese companies, just speaking Japanese with people and doing presentations and whatnot. And they're fine. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I think it's one of those things where it's gonna just be weird because you don't have to just do the JLPT. You can do the business Japanese test as well, I think.
Okay. Do you know anything about that? I don't know anything about that test.
So this one is a little bit different. One of the things that I think makes it a little bit different is this tests more of your business proficiency, like your business communication.
I'd be more interested. Can you take that easier than you can take the JLPT? Because the JLPT be coming is it twice a year only?
Twice a year in Japan. Overseas is different.
I see probably even worse overseas, right? Or even
yeah,
less
it's
times.
like some places are twice, some places are once. It all depends.
I back home, I'm in Northern California. Like San Francisco's not even that far from me. But even I'd be mad if I had to drive to San Francisco to if I had to cross that bridge, that Bay Area bridge to take a test. I don't know. I'd be mad about that.
Yeah, there is that, which would be annoying.
And then also, and that, by the way, again, the reason I'm bringing that up is because there are some people, you're in the middle of nowhere, America, and you probably got to fly to a test center, if anything, right? Like they're not doing these in every state. I'll put it that way.
Even if they are, think about the size of some states. My friend wanted to take it, and she's in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, do you know how far away cities in Texas are?
Yeah, and then
I have to drive for 3 hours to take the test.
Exactly. And then on top of that, they and this is even just America centric, so I don't know how it is in the Europe. But I blanked out. Oh yeah, and then recently they updated it where if you come to Japan, but you don't live here, you're also not allowed to take it because you need their excuse was that the addresses that people were registering with kind of led to nowhere, so people couldn't receive their certificate that they passed it or didn't pass it, which kind of makes sense, except for on the website you could see that whether you passed it or not. But I suppose, I've never encountered this, but there might be a company that's let me see that certificate. I suppose I've never encountered that before though, but maybe. Yeah.
The certificate does the thing that says, right, you can supposedly communicate clearly in Japanese. Because I was looking at the BJT's website, and even they only do listening and reading.
Yeah, there's just such a large difference between being able to read stuff and being able to speak stuff and being able to write kanji and being able to identify kanji. My housemate, I regularly regularly we'll obviously we only talk in Japanese because he doesn't know English, and like a word will come up, a term will come up, and I'll be like, is that this kanji and this kanji? And bro just sort of does not know. Like 80% of the time he does not know, and then he has to look it up. So again, this doesn't mean all Japanese people are like that, but it goes to show like how important it really is day to day to be able to just like know all the kanji like by heart and be able to write them out. I think it's more like a sign of like good job, you went to a good university or something. But
Well, I mean,
most Japanese Mhm.
there's also the risk of, because I keep track of this for unfortunate reasons, is there a certain kanji that you just are supposed to know how to read and not write?
That's a lot
And
of
I
them.
think those are easy to forget.
Yeah, that's a lot of them, I would say. And then the way they build the higher JLPTs N2 and N1, they'll purposefully uh, add a lot of like similar kanji to be like, do you really know your kanji? And it's like, no, bro. The answer is no. That's why I had to study for this test. But you know who does know their kanji? Someone who grew up writing those kanji. So, I mean, the backdrop to all of this is clearly related to kind of anti-immigration sentiment out here. The whole like visa renewals and making sure everybody speaks Japanese. But I feel like they're under some kind of misconception that, oh well, maybe if these foreigners, if these gaijin over here, if they just understood Japanese, if they just like locked in on Japanese more and were able to communicate more, then they would understand our way of life, and thus they would be able to integrate better. Which I don't think that's how it works. But what do you think about that?
A little bit, but I also think there's just, and this isn't just Japan. I think this is kind of a issue around the world of like, we want to make it hard to come, hard to stay. Because we're talking about the JLPT or BJT requirement, but there's also the rising prices,
Yes. Yes, yes.
of which they still haven't actually decided how much it's going to cost.
I see. Yeah, you're talking about the rising prices, not just in the country, but the rising prices of the renewal process and the process to
Yeah.
get visas and stuff.
So the new fees supposedly are based on how long you're staying, but if you've ever tried to apply for a visa in Japan, it's a mystery on like how long you get to stay.
Yeah,
And then
yeah, that's true.
the weird thing is the most common two visa wow, sorry, I blanked. The most common two visa lengths is 1 year and 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
True.
they're talking about increasing 1 year to 20,000 to 30,000 yen. And then they skip to 5 years. They don't even talk about how much 3 years would cost.
That's pretty crazy for a few reasons. Because that means, because yeah, it's a pretty big deal what you just said for people who haven't been in the system like we have, which is you go apply your company, you have a company usually that backs you up, or you have a lot of evidence as to why you should be out here. And then the government will be like, all right, well, you can stay for another year, you can stay for 3 years, and some people get 5 years. And some of the key factors are probably, you know, if you have the type of company that's backing you up, how much money you're making, what country you're from, unfortunately, and I'm not quite sure.
The mood of the person who
Yeah.
gives you the stamp, honestly.
Yeah, and I feel maybe, okay, I'm pretty sure they decide it on the day you show up. So like you show up and you put all your stuff in, and they're like, all right, and then you just come, and then eventually you get a message like a month later, or even a little over a month, which is scary. Your visa gets extended, but like later they show up, they'll have a thing that it says like, all right, yeah, you come pick up your visa. And so you drag yourself back and you go over there and you show up. And I feel like they print it out on the spot. Like you show up and then they'll be like, all right, just have a seat. And they'll give you like a fresh visa. And then you don't really know how many years you got until you look at your visa and it says 1 or 3 or 5. And 5 is extremely rare. I think I only know one person who's gotten 5, and the bro's a beast as far as career-wise out here. And is Japanese.
Supposedly, people have randomly gotten 5 years. But the thing about it is that I think a lot of people don't understand is, like you said, you don't know until you show up.
Yeah.
And like, could you imagine that you applied for a year.
Yeah.
And you're expecting it to be 20,000.
Yeah.
But you get 5 years and they're like, so bro, give me 70,000 yen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so you show up and it's like, bro, I'm short. What are we gonna do? And it's like, oh, okay, well then you get no visa. I picture that happening.
But that's, I think, the scary thing to me is that they are essentially still unclear about what it's going to be. And you can see online kind of two different sides. One of being like, well, in other countries it's expensive. And I'm like, yeah, well, other countries pay different paychecks and have different expectations. But also, more importantly, is to see the people who are like, it should be more than that. And I'm like, okay, just say you don't want like people coming.
But here's my confusion is like, so then who do you actually want around? Because if what they want is like very low skill labor, like me, and I'm joking, but like, you know, like people who work at especially for them, what they consider low skill labor is like construction jobs, people who work at like the beef bowl restaurants, and I think those are probably, and maybe delivery people too recently, like people who go out and deliver stuff, like Amazon delivery stuff. Like those are
Well,
like,
that all depends too, because they're icing those guys with a lot of the stuff they're doing too.
what do you mean?
Because, right, if they increase the business visa requirements, and so they're like, oh yeah, a lot of the like Indian restaurants, Chinese restaurants, those things are gonna probably close down.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because
well, yeah, that's what yeah.
Because you're doing these things that, like you said, what kind of people are you trying to attract? And the problem with this is that the yen, if you're trying to attract people who are big money makers, who have a lot of money, who make a lot of money, they're not coming to Japan.
No, they're just not.
And like part of it is that the yen is in the trash, but also you're running the risk of people leaving for better pay. And I don't mean foreigners, I mean Japanese.
Interesting. But yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, who do you want? If you want the low-skilled laborers, quote unquote low-skilled laborers, first off, those jobs, they require like a lot of work and sacrifice. So they're considered low-skilled jobs, but it takes a certain kind of person with grit, which is one of their favorite words out here in English, grit, to put up with those jobs. Like they're acting like we're doing you the favor of living in Japan. So, and it's like, okay, yeah, but you're also like kind of pushing a human being to you're pushing them to do quite a lot of work, obviously, and for less pay than you would for someone who's living out here. And I've heard because I have connections with people of all types. I've heard the same argument like that they make back home, which is like, well, if these foreigners weren't around here, then the local Japanese boys would be doing this job, and it's like, yeah, I don't know if that's true there, homie. Like even 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago, before I even came to Japan, I had a bro who was well educated. He graduated from same university back in the States. And when he was out here, he was already trying not to be about that life. He was like, I could work for this company, and then it's like a traditional company, or I could work for this company, which seems a lot more like loose and laid back. And he was already leaning away from like what would be considered like a traditional company, even by Japanese standards. So it's almost like young people are like, bro, this whole country is like committing seppuku, like it's like suicide in itself. So why would I try? Like it gets split. Some people are like, why would I even try really hard to hit on the traditional system when the traditions have kind of failed in protecting the country, like as far as like guaranteeing its future, or should I just be chill about this? So it's like the traditional companies, I feel like they're defending themselves. Their solution to this is like, okay, well then let's just use immigrants. If we bring in some immigrants and we bring them in like a kind of regimented labor force, then they'll do that. But the trade is, oh, and you get to live in Japan and enjoy Japan. So like there's like some miscommunication happening here, where like some aspects of the government are like, nah, we got to be stricter on these foreigners to get quote unquote higher quality foreigners. And then there's other people, the companies are like, wait, hold up, we're bringing in these foreigners especially because they're not high quality foreigners. And it's like, well, Well then, okay, so who's staying? Who's who's staying and who's going here? Like I'm not even saying like I'm not even being like therefore you should do this or that because this ain't my country. Let's be real. It's more like what is your plan? What is the game plan here? Because the only game I don't see anybody winning. Like the foreigners aren't winning, the locals aren't winning. Like you think just because some random foreigner passed JLPT N2, what does that guarantee? Like literally nothing. And charging that very same foreigner 20 to 70K for renewing their visa. What has that guaranteed? Literally nothing. Like these I don't know what they're trying to do. That's my question. I don't know.
Well, supposedly they're trying to raise money to smooth relations with the Japanese and the non-Japanese. And I'm saying this with the utmost sarcasm because I feel like they're talking about increasing the prices on residents with the excuse of doing something about tourists and then saying, oh, well, we'll give you support to learn Japanese or do this, that, or the other. And I'm like, but are you really?
Even if that's what they're saying, I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know why that one leads to the other. I'm confused of their methods. Their methods confused. I don't know if that's the method.
I mean, as they kind of should.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Oh, no. By the way, as a public service announcement, I looked up that BJT, the Japanese Business Proficiency Test. Literally, Bijines Nihongo Noryoku Testo. And it turns out this thing is like all year, like at all times. You could take it whenever. That's pretty cool. I might go for that. You just gotta go to like a place with a computer center, Pearson's VU centers. And I've seen this before for like IT tests. I think Pearson has to be like an American or it's definitely not a Japanese company because they're
Pearson is the American textbook company, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember one time I was studying for like an IT test out here, and yeah, it's just a computer. You just go to a place where they like be monitoring you and stuff, and it's just like you're just on a computer. So it looks like it's the same kind of program. So that's pretty cool. The only thing is, if you fail it, you have to wait 3 months before taking it again. So that's interesting. I might look into that.
Still not as long as the JLPT.
Well, yeah. So for the BJT, but this is in Japan though. I wonder how it is in other countries, but whatever. For us folk in Japan, maybe it's worth looking into that one, because them JLPTs come far and few between. It's like not that often. Okay.
Every July and December.
Yeah. Let's see. I guess I'll throw you with another bit of news. Okay, I'll leave you the option. Like you give me the option. Do you want to talk about AI or food or food, which are both very popular topics on this show?
You've given me a hard choice here because food is always fun.
Okay. Well then, let's go with food. And I'm sure you've seen this. This is not that recent news, but apparently there was an apology that happened, and essentially, this is related to the McDonald's CEO taking a very awkward bite of the Arch burger, the McArch or whatever. I'm sure you've heard about that.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
that was peak comedy because all the other CEOs took big bites.
Yeah, I don't. What did you make of that? You personally? Because it's like me just to answer very quickly. It's like why would you even bother if you weren't gonna go ham on it, like literally ham on it? Like, I don't know. What did you think about it?
I feel like it was just so poorly thought out. Like, he called it the product and not like a burger. And then he took the tiniest of bites and like acted like a kid who you told to eat their vegetables. And I'm like, the point of you doing this was to make your stuff look appealing. Regardless of whether it is or not. Like, you're supposed to act like it's appealing.
Well, guess what his explanation was about a day ago?
Oh wow, he waited a long time to give an explanation.
He blamed someone.
What woman did he blame?
Oh, you're right. He blamed his mother. He blamed his mama. Somehow related to his mama telling him, "Don't talk with your mouth full." So yeah, women. It's women's fault as usual. Women are to blame for this gaffe. This CEO's gaffe. Yes.
I guess.
Does that sound right?
That's just ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know.
I can't believe he really did blame a woman. I was being sarcastic.
Really? Honestly, I thought you had just like peeked and saw it, but yeah, nah,
No.
he blamed his mom. Yeah, you were right. Blamed his mom. CEO Chris Kempczynski
Wow.
blamed his mother. By the way, imagine you're his mom. They're just like, dude, I didn't say all that. I didn't say. I just said, you know, like to don't talk with your mouth. I didn't say don't talk with your mouth full, and not to take a mouse-sized bite, like a cartoon's mouse-sized bite for your commercial as you're like a 60-year-old or however old this man is. Okay. Well, I guess
That's hilarious.
we'll leave it at that. Short and sweet. Well, not really sweet. It was mostly just us proclaiming our grievances again. Actually, you know what? I'll give you one more food story. Artemis 2, which apparently I can't talk about without getting no views because the way we feel about it. But apparently they had Nutella on board.
I approve.
Yeah. What are the people, I was about to say women. People I know really love Nutella. And I also am a fan of Nutella. But I don't know if I'm a fan of Nutella sufficiently enough to bring it with me to space. I don't know. But how do you feel about that?
I feel like you only have so many options of what to bring into space, and you can't bring certain things that like might cause problems.
I'm just picturing. I just like open up a jar of like salsa. Oh no, the tomatoes. the like it's just like everything's just flowing everywhere.
Your salsa starts floating away.
Yeah, and then like the chili peppers get in someone's eyes or something. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, right. That's what I meant. It's like
right.
The consistency of Nutella makes it a little bit, I think, better to take on such a trip.
You're actually totally right. Yeah. And for the Mexican bros, I have heard, although to be fair, I'm assuming they're using flour tortillas, but I have heard that in earlier space missions, tortillas were like alternatives to bread. Because let's be real, it's just a kind of bread. Humans love their flat bread recipes.
Humans love a good flat bread.
We love that flat bread. I want some right now. Would love some. I had some yesterday. I had some naan, some cheesy naan, and 24 hours later, I could go for it again. So I guess we'll end on that note, on this delicious food note. Yeah, Nutella is delicious. Do you have some? This is actually a genuine question. Do you have some like in your cupboard?
Of course.
Okay. Yeah, I because there's like almost like no reason to not have some. The reason I don't have some is because I'll just kill it. Like if I had some, I would probably go through it like within a few weeks, and then I just keep buying it. And Nutella is not cheap out here, I don't think.
No, it's not cheap.
Yeah. I don't even, to be fair though, I don't know if it's cheap anywhere else in the world either. But yeah, it's certainly not cheap out here. And yeah, the problem is I have to live like a borderline homeless person, because otherwise I'll have like expensive tastes. So I gotta like LARP as me having less, or else it's game over. And I'll have a cupboard full of Nutella, and then it's over. It's just over. Okay.
I laugh at you, but I understand.
Yeah. Apparently we're cut from the same cloth with regard to this. All right. So we're probably, well, you're not gonna, you ate before, and I'm gonna go eat from now on. I think this is important for this should be important for our listeners to know, because depending on who ate before and who's gonna eat after, it almost like defines the energy of the show, I've noticed. Like, if I ate before, like, I'm just like a zombie for a lot of these episodes, not gonna lie. But okay. All right. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.